Hey everyone, sorry it's been a long time since I've uploaded. This is also a new mic. The last few chapters has been this new mic. I am having a terrible time trying to figure out why there's a ringing sound in it when it's not showing up on Audacity, but we're gonna just move on. So this is an update intro. A lot of personal stuff has happened, that's why I haven't really been uploading as much, but we're trying to get through it. I've been sick for the past 2 weeks because of the weather changing, which was also a strain on not wanting to record because I didn't want to be coughing and straining my voice a lot, which I think I'm okay enough right now to do Marinette's voice, hopefully, but we'll see. So if it sounds bad, just ignore it and keep moving on. But my goal is to start recording on the weekends and upload by the next week. But you never really know with me because life happens and a lot of stuff can go wrong or, go right if you're optimistic. But I don't like leaving you guys hanging. So that's why if waiting for my videos is a little frustrating, and I know it can be because I'm also really impatient and you'd rather read them yourself, I do upload on my Wattpad. It's a lot faster and easier than recording, editing, and uploading because I've already written the entire series before I start uploading them. I like having an ending, and yes, Can I Kiss You is complete. It has 33 chapters, and I've also been working on season 4 of Thunderstorms as well. I have the whole outline, just trying to write it is another matter. Anyways, I'm done with my really long intro update. Sorry if you sat through this, but I felt like I really needed to let you guys in on what's going on. So, enjoy the chapter. Chapter 6. He gripped her arm tightly in his arms and made his way to her balcony. He gently let her down on her feet and looked toward the Eiffel Tower, the candles still burning in the distance. "I'll be right back. I need to blow out the candles," Kat said, getting his staff out, ready to pounce back to their original spot. Marinette nodded, letting him go clean up after their date. While he was gone, she could always go downstairs and make their hot chocolate. Then, when he got back, his hot chocolate would be just right when he decided to drink it. A few minutes later, Marinette found herself in the kitchen, placing 2 hot chocolates on a tray. She opened the latch to her bedroom and popped her head inside. She saw him lying on her bed on his back, his eyes closed, but his ears twitched when he heard her coming up the stairs. "You want some?" Marinette asked, knowing he was awake. He opened one eye and glanced over. He sat up and hopped down to the chaise, picking one up. "Yes, please. Thank you," he said as he blew the steam away. Marinette took her own cup and bundled herself up in a blanket, throwing half of it over his shoulder as well. They sipped their drinks in silence until Kat turned to look at her. "So, what did you think of tonight? Did I blow you away?" He chuckled, blowing on his hot chocolate. "Your puns are terrible," Marinette laughed, nodding to his question. "Kat, do you want to talk about us now?" Marinette said, looking over at him sipping his drink. "I think we're pretty perfect together. What is there to discuss?" He smiled, sitting his now empty cup back on the tray. "The fact that I'm a civilian and you're a superhero? I also don't know who you are. How can I date someone and I don't know who they are?" Marinette smiled, placing her cup down beside his. "That didn't stop you from going on a date with me. And it didn't stop you from kissing me." Kat smirked. It was you who kissed me first," Marinette shot back. "I didn't ask to kiss," Kat said, wiggling his eyebrows, knowing he won the argument. Marinette rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and thought for a second. She turned back to him and smiled. She leaned in and put both of her hands on his cheeks and pulled him toward her. He held his breath and closed his eyes tightly, waiting for impact. But after a few seconds, he reopened his eyes to see Marinette smirkingly smiling at him. "I may have asked for a kiss, but you're always ready for them, huh? Like if I were to offer to kiss you again, right now." Marinette laughed, booping his nose as she pushed him back away. His face was flushed red and his mouth hung down slightly, unsure how to respond to her flirting. Marinette?" he asked, gazing at her still laughing. "Yes, Cat?" She took a breath to collect herself, but was caught off guard by him sliding closer to her and wrapping his arm around her waist to pull her closer to him. "You shouldn't tease a cat like that. We may just take that opportunity," Cat said, leaning down while closing his eyes. "Just give me a chance." Marinette's face turned red and found herself closing her eyes. He leaned down, and just before their lips were about to touch, they heard someone coming up the ladder. Marinette's eyes shot open and she shoved him away, causing him to fall off the chaise with a groan. "Hurry! Get on the balcony!" Marinette yelled in a hard whisper. "Why? Your mom and dad don't care if I'm here," Cat groaned. "Those footsteps aren't my parents!" she exclaimed, hurrying him out. Just in the nick of time, Alia and Nino popped their heads in her room just to see Marinette standing awkwardly in front of 2 empty hot chocolates on the table. Cat watched as Marinette awkwardly talked to her friends, trying to find an excuse as to why she had 2 drinks. Cat sighed as he realized that his night was cut short, and without the kiss he was hoping he would get. Though that didn't mean his night was completely worthless. He got to take the girl he liked on a date, and drink hot chocolate together just like they used to do. He sat on the balcony watching them talk about how their day went, and what they were going to be doing tomorrow. Marinette didn't know that Cat was Adrian, so this might be a little difficult, considering he had feelings for her. How could he just ignore his feelings? Also, he would have to take in consideration that she likes Cat, and not Adrian anymore. She also thought that Adrian liked Kagami, which he couldn't blame her for. They did spend a lot of time together because of their family, but he likes Marinette, not Kagami. "Come on, Marinette. Adrian will be there tomorrow. Don't you still like him?" Alia nudged her shoulder. "Wait, you don't like my buddy anymore? How come?" Wait, even Nino knew? How embarrassing. Cat groaned silently, mentally scolding himself for not noticing. Well, I used to, I like someone else now, though," she smiled, walking over to her dresser to put her hair back into pigtails. "Wait, who? Also, did you go on a date with them tonight? Why are you so dressed up?" Alia squealed. Nino sat down on the chaise, waiting for the girls to get done chatting when he saw a shadow on the balcony. "Yo, babe, I think he's on the balcony," Nino laughed. "Huh? No, he isn't. It must have just been a bird or the wind. Wow, it's been so windy lately," Marinette screamed, running over to the balcony latch above her bed. Alia crossed her arms and rolled her eyes. "Come on, girl, let us meet him. Stop hiding him from us." She pushed her friend out of the way, and Marinette bit her nails. All of them went up on the balcony to find no one up there. Alia huffed and groaned, admitting defeat. Marinette let out a sigh of relief when she saw he wasn't up there. She saw him on another roof in the distance, blowing her a kiss goodbye as he disappeared into the night. Marinette chuckled to herself and turned to Alia, who was a little confused as to why she was laughing. The next day, Adrian waited for Marinette to come into class. He asked Nino if he wanted to sit with his girlfriend, and of course, Alia jumped right on board. Chloe walked in and sat down in her normal spot, though it didn't take her long to notice Nina and Alia sitting together. "Oh, would you want me to sit with you, Adrikins?" Chloe smiled, about to stand up. "I was gonna let Marinette sit there. I was just wondering if Nino wanted to sit with his girlfriend. Thanks anyways, Chloe." Adrian smiled, wishing mentally that Chloe would just sit back down in her own spot.
"Ugh, that dumb baker girl taking attention away from my Adrikins? Ridiculous!"
Chloe huffed and sat back down, glaring at Marinette, who just walked into class. "Oh," Marinette exclaimed, seeing that Alia and Nino were sitting together. "Do you want to sit with me, Marinette?" Adrian asked, smiling. No problem," Marinette smiled back nervously. "Okay, Adrian, keep your cool. You like her, but only as Cat. You can't be caught flirting with her as Adrian, because she likes Cat. She kissed Cat. Well, you. Ugh, this is gonna be difficult." Marinette sat down beside him, stiff as a board. She wasn't kidding about her freezing up and stuttering around him. He just assumed that was how she acted toward other people that she didn't know that well. She never acted that way around Cat Noir, though. Weird. How was he never realized she liked him? Did you sweet the oats? Get the notes I sent you? Marinette asked, glancing over to him with a soft smile, mentally embarrassed by her choice of words. I did, thank you. Adrien smiled back. Yeah, she does act a lot different around Adrien. This is a little more noticeable once she pointed it out. Hopefully she'll be more comfortable around him with time. The sudden movement from the teacher coming in and closing the door behind her caused them to turn their heads. Chloe smirked, knowing the teacher wouldn't like the seat change so late in the semester, so they would have to go back to their original seats. Though the teacher simply smiled and started her lesson, causing Chloe to become more aggravated than before. The day went on like any other. They took notes, learned more information on the subject they were learning, and worked on their schoolwork in class. As the bell rang to dismiss the class, Adrien stood up from his seat and picked up Marinette's bag for her. Oh, thank you, she said wide-eyed. It's no problem at all. So, do you have any plans for dinner tonight? Adrien smiled, watching Ollie and Nino's eyes widen. Marinette thought for a moment and took her bag from him, then wrapped it around her arm. Sorry, I have plans with my family tonight. Marinette smiled, a light blush of red starting to form on her cheeks. Adrien's eyes widened when he realized she didn't actually mean her family. She was blushing. She was hoping Cat Noir would come by tonight. Adrien gulped, feeling his heart thump faster. Oh, no problem. Maybe another time. Adrien laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. Adrien grabbed his bag and left, leaving Alia, Marinette, and Nino in the classroom. He could hear Alia trying to quietly scold her for turning down his offer, though, causing him to chuckle as he left. How was school, Adrien? Natalie asked as Adrien shut the car door. It was good. Do I have any plans tonight? Adrien asked, pulling out his phone. Your father has Kagami's family coming over tonight to discuss things about his recent designs. He wants you to entertain Kagami while he's in the meeting, Natalie said, driving off the school lot. How long will that take? Adrien asked. Do you have other plans that I should be made aware of, Adrien? Natalie asked while looking in the rearview mirror at him. Oh, no, I just wanted to go to sleep early tonight. I'm really tired. Adrien smiled with a long fake yawn. Natalie looked back at the road and drove toward his home. Adrien sighed, knowing that it would probably be late before he could see Marinette. Adrien stepped out of the car and walked up to his room, closing the door behind him only to find Kagami already sitting in his room, as if she were waiting for him. Oh, hey, Kagami. I didn't think you would be here this soon. Adrien smiled awkwardly. Yes, well, my mother and I both like to be early, Kagami said. It is one of our many great habits we like to hold on to. Adrien sighed, knowing that he really didn't have time now to do what he was wanting to do. He would have to wait until tonight to see her. Hopefully, she wouldn't be too disappointed. Where are you, Cat Noir? Marinette sighed, leaning on her balcony looking around the city. Did he tell you he was coming over? Tiki asked. No, but I kind of figured he would just because of how last night ended. Marinette blushed, remembering the almost kiss they had as well as the kiss he blew to her when he left. Just don't get your hopes up, Marinette. He could be busy today. He does have his own civilian life to take care of, even if he can't share those details, Tiki said, hoping Marinette would understand. I know, Tiki. Marinette smiled, still looking around Paris. Would you be upset if I went to patrol? Marinette asked, looking down at Tiki. I know you're only wanting to transform to get his attention, but I guess not, Tiki sighed. Marinette transformed and started bouncing around the city, taking in the crisp winter air as it blew through her hair. She loved zipping through the city. She would always have to be so serious when she transformed, but right now, there was nothing to be serious about. She giggled as she swung around, catapulting herself into the air as she landed on top of the Eiffel Tower. She sat down on the ledge, watching the sun starting to set in the distance, visualizing the night before. Ladybug sat there waiting until the stars behind the darkened clouds became bright and visible. The realization of Cat Noir not showing up hit, causing her to stand up. She sighed and opened her yo-yo, calling him. She sighed as she heard the same voicemail she heard about 8 other times that night. He wasn't transformed, which meant he was busy like Tiki had said. She looked around at the bright, busy city one last time, capturing its beauty before heading back home. As she landed on her balcony, she de-transformed and landed on her bed with a thud. She knew he didn't tell her he was going to come by that night, but it still hurt that he didn't. She was hopeful for something that might not happen. She took hold of her blankets and pulled them over her head, wanting to just sleep the rest of the night away. Though a few minutes later, a familiar faint tapping above her caused her to shove the blankets off of her head. She sat up and waited. She knew that sound from anywhere. He was there. He was knocking a lot quieter than he normally does, but that was because of how late it was. He didn't know if she was sleeping or not. Marinette unlocked the balcony window and saw him smiling down at her. "Good evening, princess," he said, climbing down and landing beside her in her bed. "Evening? It's the middle of the night, Cat," Marinette said with a smile, finally being able to see him again. Cat looked at her phone that showed the time and sighed. He laid on his back and opened his arms for Marinette to curl into. Marinette laughed and laid her head on his chest, clicking the TV on in the process. Cat wrapped his arms around her shoulders and felt her breathing match his. They usually lay next to each other to watch shows and movies, but he knew how she felt, and she knew how he felt. There was no reason to hide their feelings. "Sorry it took me so long to get here. Civilian life was a little hectic today," Cat said. "It's all right. I didn't know if you were coming over or not anyways." Marinette smiled, turning her head to look up at him. "Are we?" he began. "You know." "Are we what?" she asked. "Ugh," he groaned, his face turning red. "What's the matter? Did you eat some bad catnip or something? You're acting weird," she asked, sitting up. "Did you want to, date me?" he asked, feeling a little embarrassed, his face starting to turn even more red. "I mean, I wouldn't say no. There is one problem, though," she said, smiling at him. "What? Oh, I know what you mean," he said. "Wait, you do?" she said, a little confused. "I bought you one of these. I have one too," he smiled, pulling out 2 matching phones. "Phones?" she said, taking one from him. "Yeah, I put their numbers in each other so we can text or call one another." He smiled, thinking he was a genius. Marinette laughed, causing Cat to look at her. "What? Do you not like that idea?" It's not that. It's a great idea, actually. What I was talking about earlier about the problem was, well, I was thinking more along the lines of something that we didn't finish what we started yesterday," Marinette said, her cheeks red. "Yesterday? Oh," he said, knowing what she meant. Marinette looked at him. Regardless of what her mind was telling her, she wanted to give him the chance he asked for. She felt him move his hand under her chin and brought her face to his. He closed his eyes and their lips pressed against one another, feeling like fireworks were being shot off. This feeling. Nothing could beat this feeling. Once their lips parted, both of their faces were red as cherries, still a little nervous around one another, but they both enjoyed the butterflies they felt being together. "So, what about now? Would you want to be my girlfriend?" Cat smiled, seeing Marinette's bright blue eyes light up at the question. "I don't know, kitty. Do I have any competition?" Marinette teased, referring to the previous day. "Competition? Never." Cat smiled. "Then yes, I'll be your girlfriend." Marinette laughed, placing one more kiss on his cheek before laying her head back on his chest, closing her eyes. Cat closed his eyes and pulled her closer to him, feeling her breathing match his. They turned the TV off. The only thing that illuminated the room was the moon from the skylight above them, almost like a spotlight. It didn't take long for both of them to fall asleep in each other's arms, though. This was great. He finally had a girlfriend. He had Marinette as his girlfriend. Well, how was he supposed to act around her as Adrian? Also, how was he supposed to act around Ladybug? This was going to be difficult. Oh well, he would worry about that later.